tracks. I'm going to do here vertically so you can see all three. Scott, this is probably like so basic. It's kind of like me trying to tell you how to color, right? It's so basic. And so it actually plays the tracks you see, all right? Precedence is volume, amplification, not because Margaret reading is on top. That doesn't mean she has precedence over these other tracks. And if you're going to edit, sometimes it's easier to move your tracks around so you can see what you're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the amplification of the music. I'm going to talk, Margaret's going to talk, and then I'm going to continue talking. Okay? You can use your zoom tool to zoom in. If you're really trying to find a spot, I had to record somebody doing a conference. I think they spoke for like over 2 hours. I just kept the voice recorder. And then they wanted it on CD. Well, that, you know, we want you to, well, an audio file can't be more than 2 gigs, so I had to go in and try to find where there might have been a natural break in his presentation. Was there a Q&A session? I had to listen for did he switch topics and then break that down into individual tracks and export them separately. Okay, so you can do that. The first thing I'm going to do basically is select the audio for the music, and this is your selection tool. Okay, so you select your track, and you go to Effect, Amplify, and you just reduce until you're happy with the lower volume. Okay? And then when you play it, it's in the background. Okay? I also said I wanted to talk and then let Margaret read her poetry. So there's a time shift tool, which I can simply say, I'm going to talk, and then Margaret's going to talk. Okay? You'll notice that, as I tell students, timing. My presentation now is over 3 minutes. I can continue to do view, fit, and window, and then I can see everything for 3.5 minutes now. If you're trying to be very exact where you are, you can always select down here in less than seconds, milliseconds, or whatever. Okay. You should save your project and save as you work. Okay. And it's telling you you're saving an Audacity project, so it's a working project. Okay. I'll just call it So what it does is it takes this Audacity project and it references the files that it's working with, and it's applying all the changes you're making. Okay? So, now I am talking, and Margaret is following. Okay. If, however, I was talking, and I'm talking about the poem she's going to read, and then I want to continue with a different subject, I don't want to do all my talking before Margaret. So I may want to zoom in. We're just going to pretend. Okay, and right here, I can see there's a break, and we'll pretend I stopped talking about her over there and wanted to introduce her. So I'm going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to say Edit, Select from Cursor to Track End, okay? And then I'm going to just say Edit, Split New, and it's going to make a new track, okay? I just did this earlier for another class, and I said, oh, look, where's Margaret? You know, you don't see her waveforms. You have to continually fit window, move your stuff over, okay? So it's me reading. I'm going to use my time shift tool again. Margaret's going to read, and then I'm going to continue talking. All right? Now, while Margaret's reading, I may now want to have the music play, because I may want to just focus on Margaret reading her poetry. So I can take my selection tool again, And I can select this part of the music, and I can go to edit, silence the audio. Okay, so.
Yeah, this is what did happen.
There's some other tools here. You can fade in and fade out. And you're going to continue to save. It's always important. There are some effects here. There's some that work with music. There's something called change tempo. So you can slow down the people talking. So if you're typing and you have to transcribe, it gives you that opportunity to listen at a pace you're typing. Under generate, there's some things called noise or tone. So if you're doing research and a person is starting to disclose very private information, you can apply some noise over that little piece of audio and mask it. What else? What do we use? There is a sound-activated recording, which is new. And you can also do more sophisticated editing kinds of things, which I'm really not familiar with or do too much. When you're done, you have the opportunity to export a selection, which would be a piece. Export multiple, meaning each track is now a separate track. You're making new tracks, okay? Or export, period. And what that does is allows you to make one file. When you export to MP3, some of your options is how much you want to compress that file. And when you save it, you're going to the metadata that would show up in your player. So this might be me. My track title might be lecture on Atwood. Okay, might be March 2012. And I can say okay. And it's going to tell me it's mixing it down to one audio file. Pretty much, depending on what you're doing. If you had just had to talk to a professor who has a lot of interviews on cassette tapes, I said take a cassette player and a keyboard and just plug it in, play it, and walk away. And a half hour later, come back, flip your tape. And then you can split it up in different tracks if you need to, or clean it up a bit. There is a noise removal tool that works so-so, where you can identify noise with Audacity and tell it to get rid of it. Does anybody have any questions?
You said there was a couple plugins we should download. One was for MP3 files. Oh, what was the other one?
FFmpeg. Here's what I would recommend. The easiest thing to do, install Audacity. Go to Edit and go to Preferences. I'm sorry, go to Edit. Yeah. Go to Edit Preferences and then go to Libraries. Okay? When you go to Libraries, you want just hit the download.
Okay.
And download the MP3, and then you have to locate it on the computer. Audacity has to know where it went to. And the defaults typically work. And the same thing with the FFmpeg.
Yeah, so which one would work with iTunes? Or both of them?
You probably need FFmpeg.
Okay.
I mean, some of the things in my iTunes is MP3, so I just use the MP3. But,
Well, I had an Apple.
Yeah, so you want, I mean, that's what goes on with the digital. There's so many different file formats for everything. It makes you a little crazy. Their help screens are great. You can, within a track, you can map out, where you want it to increase and decrease the volume. You can play around like that. People have used this to prepare PowerPoint presentations. Okay. when you're working with slides and you want to talk over, kind of like make a movie of slides and sound, multimedia project, what is easiest? It depends. Sometimes using a voice recorder and just editing it a little bit works. Sometimes sitting here and talking and watching the time go by on the top is helpful. You can watch when you pause and it continues. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Will they output the signal to PowerPoint to change size on your audio files?
Well, you can record right in PowerPoint, but sometimes people, depending on what you're doing, they use this first and then import it, so that it's one audio file that maybe plays over all the slides at one time. The new live movie maker, you cannot narrate into anymore. So people use something like this and combine it with the music and then import it as one audio track. Okay, you have to play around with that a little bit. Does anybody want any handouts? I can just leave them up here for you. How many are you from the university? Any left? Oh, just a few. Well, we have all kinds of audio recording equipment if you're interested. High-end stuff like the Zoom recorder, handheld voice recorders, wireless mics. We have adapters for cell phones if you're recording, right into a recorder. All kinds of stuff like that. You just need to go drop by or email me. My contact information is right on the IMC's website. Simple program.
Well, if there are no other questions, thank you.